Today is a big day in the U.S. House. They are planning to vote on and release all of the Jeffrey Epstein documents, just like the leftists have been wanting for a really long time, right? Okay, you get what you want. Donald Trump has recently signed off on it vocally and on Truth Social, said, yeah, release the files. There's nothing that I need to hide that are in those documents. Go ahead, release it. Have a day. Have fun. Enjoy. That vote is supposed to happen in the House today. It's unclear what will happen in the Senate. The Senate has to vote in the affirmative as well. And then the president says he will sign that, the release of all the documents. It's about time. It's taken too long. But there are protections needed to protect the victims, all of that, which is why this has been taking so long, longer than it should have. But finally, Republicans are all in agreement. Go ahead, Democrats. You got your wish. We're gonna release it. And guess what? As Trump said in his Truth Social, and I covered yesterday, get ready for guys to be implicated in this. Guys that Democrats view as idols: Bill Clinton, Reid Hoffman, founder of LinkedIn, leftist, Larry Summers, professor, leftist. Trump says, get ready. Those names are probably going to be seen quite a few times. So now Democrats don't know what to do because they've been fighting Trump on this issue. Release. They finally got their wish, and now I predict they're going to have another rake that they stepped on hit them right in the face. Because it's not going to show them what they thought they would have. Instead, it's going to implicate more Democrats. That's a prediction, not a guarantee, but I have a feeling they're going to regret the release of all of these documents. So Chuck Schumer was asked about this just yesterday. And remember, Chuck Schumer is a man who's barely hanging on to his leadership position, maybe going to be primaried by AOC. He's a guy who should really have all of his ducks in his row, maybe rehearse some of his lines, perhaps be prepared for this question. Take a listen. A reporter asked him, why wouldn't the Epstein files have been released under the last 4 years when President Joe Biden was in office? If you have something dirty on Donald Trump, why wouldn't it have been released? Take a listen to his answer.
Senator, on that note, just I guess a question that's out there: why wouldn't they have been released the last 4 years when President Biden was in office?
Well, that's the question every American is asking. Not every American, but so many Americans are asking. What the hell is he hiding? Why doesn't he want them released?
What the hell is he hiding? What is Joe Biden hiding? I mean, Chuck Schumer heard the question. It's not like he didn't know that the question was in reference to Joe Biden, but he's so canned in his responses. He's got this line that he will always use no matter what the question is, where if the question is completely different, it makes no sense what Chuck Schumer said. Is he turning into Joe Biden himself? Is his mind falling apart? Maybe. But this is a guy who's barely hanging on to his leadership, and he's showing no evidence that he should keep it. He basically threw Joe Biden under the bus, whether he knew it or not. Joe Biden should have released these. And he would have if there was any damning evidence against Donald Trump's involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. But again, we know that they knew each other. We covered this ad nauseum. It's tiresome. It would have been released if there was any damning evidence on Donald Trump. Hakeem Jeffries, aka Timu Obama, and I got a new nickname for him. Actually, I've just been calling him. He's a bit of a drama Hakeem. So drama Hakeem when he's always so dramatic. And by the way, he talks like so slow. He's like the dollar store Barack Obama. He thinks he's Barack Obama, but his delivery is just like nowhere near it. He's just, the Epstein documents should be released because it's going to implicate Donald Trump. Like, that's what he always says. Come on, get your words out. Get your words out. You're a leader in the House. Here he is saying, again, similar to Chuck Schumer in his delivery, it's just a canned response. He's so used to saying, for example, a couple months ago when we were talking about like the tariffs, he used this term taco. Trump always chickens out. he threatens all these terrorists, but then he takes them away because Trump always chickens out. So he's used to using this terminology that Trump's a chicken. Here is a reporter asking for transparency about the Epstein documents. What do you think of Donald Trump releasing these? And here's how Hakeem Jeffries answered. Take a listen.
On Epstein, the president also just said a short time ago that he might be willing to sign this measure if it clears both chambers. If that is the case, are you comfortable with whatever information is in the Epstein files if it involves or potentially implicates Democrats?
Donald Trump appears to have chickened out on the Epstein scandal. He's caved. It's a complete and total surrender. Because as Democrats, we made clear from the very beginning, the survivors and the American people deserve full and complete transparency as it relates to the lives that were ruined by Jeffrey Epstein, who was a monster, and all of those folks who were dealing with him, the wealthy and the well-off, and people who are going to be exposed in full transparency. That's been our commitment from the very beginning, and it's closer to happening this week. The House will act decisively. The Senate needs to act. And Donald Trump just needs to step out of the way and let the chips fall where they may.
All right. Spit it out, Hakeem. Quite a while to get to what he thought was sticking the landing there. But can anyone explain to me how Trump is chickening out by releasing the Epstein documents? This is what you wanted, Timu Obama, isn't it? Isn't that what you wanted? Shouldn't you say, hey, great job. We've been calling on him to release this, and this is a victory, and he's going to be implicated. If you wouldn't that be an appropriate response given the months lead up to this moment where Donald Trump is releasing this information? No, he chickened out. Again, these politicians are not skilled. You just saw Chuck Schumer, now Hakeem Jeffries. They have these canned responses where if the question doesn't match the answer, they're going to spit it out anyway. Get with it, drama Hakeem. He had another moment that he shouldn't be too proud of just yesterday. Remember yesterday on Larry's show, I talked about how Stacey Plaskett, the delegate from the Virgin Islands, was actually colluding with Jeffrey Epstein during testimony when Ed Cohen was speaking. She was actually being fed questions and they were texting throughout. Yeah, she's good buddies with Jeffrey Epstein, apparently. Hakeem Jeffries was asked about this. Hey, why should we trust you on anything related to Jeffrey Epstein? Why should we trust the Democrats if you're the one who's got such a close relationship with him? Take a listen to how he answered this question.
Why should Americans trust you and House Democrats on the Jeffrey Epstein files when one of your own, Congresswoman Plaskett, was found to be texting with Jeffrey Epstein during a hearing, getting information from him, using that in her questioning during a congressional hearing. And at one point, he tells her, good job.
This is a bipartisan effort to make sure that, consistent with what the survivors have requested, that there's full and complete transparency, and every single predator who may be in those Justice Department files doesn't escape accountability.
He's just not very good at this. Why should Americans trust you? A lot of hand motions, very slow delivery, and we deserve transparency. That wasn't the question. The question was, why should we trust you? Stacey Plaskett is texting. They're buddies. They're talking. None of that was disclosed, by the way. Why should we trust you? Oh, let's change the subject with a lot of hand motions and quiet and very slow delivery. Spit the words out, Hakeem. Come on. Americans deserve answers. He was asked that again recently because that answer was not good enough to any normal American watching that. And he directed, well, Stacey Plaskett released a statement on the issue just yesterday. So her statement speaks for itself. And remember, the statement was, Congresswoman Plaskett received texts from staff, constituents, and the public at large offering advice, support, and in some cases, partisan vitriol, including from Epstein. As a former prosecutor, she welcomes information that helps her get at the truth and took on the GOP that was trying to bury the truth. That's a BS statement. That wasn't explaining why you're texting buddies. It's a whole bunch of gaslighting. That's what it is. And resurfaced this morning, there was another clip of a flashback of Stacey Plaskett. She was on C-SPAN, and a caller called in. This was in 2000, and the clip was in 2018, and she was asked about donations that she received from Jeffrey Epstein, and what she did with the donations. And mind you, this interaction took place before she was texting with her good buddy Jeff Epstein in the testimony that Ed Cohn was doing. So let's take a look at this clip here. This is a C-SPAN segment of Stacey Plaskett in 2018.
Does Representative Plaskett have anything to say? Business Insider has reported on this as recently as, I believe, July of 2023, about meeting with Jeffrey Epstein in 2018 and receiving $30,000 of campaign contribution.
Jeffrey Epstein was a resident of the Virgin Islands. He wanted to make contributions to the Democratic Party. He asked for a contribution. He made contributions to my campaign. I do believe that he was a reprehensible person. And after finding out what he had done, I gave the money that he had contributed to my campaign to nonprofit organizations dealing with supporting women and children in my community.
Does represent.
So let's try to make sense of this. So Stacey Plaskett, she was so repulsed by Jeffrey Epstein in 2018 that she returned his donations. But in 2019, she decided she trusted him enough to become texting buddies to get Trump. Do I have this right? On TV, she'll play off how disgusted she is, but she decided to stay in contact with him via text. Does that make any sense to you? No, it's more gaslighting. And she was only caught because the Washington Post reported on this just over the weekend. And now she has some actual explaining to do. So it seems like the Democrats are in the pocket of Jeffrey Epstein. They seem that he can use them to get whatever he wants. He was friends with nothing but Democrats. Donald Trump has said this recently. He himself was likely a Democrat. We don't know much of his affiliations, but he donated to Stacey Plaskett. He's friends with all these Democrats. It seems like he's more in their corner than he is of Republicans. So Stacey Plaskett still has some answers that she hasn't answered, or still has some questions that she hasn't answered for. Seems like she is in the pocket of Jeffrey Epstein. CNN had to cover their butts, if you will, because a lot of the commentators on that network and at least all the viewers believe, but they have to protect what's aired on their network before Donald Trump's going to sue them, like he's sued CBS and ABC and BBC and actually is winning all of those cases. They had to cover their butts, and they actually said just yesterday, the president has not been accused of any crimes or wrongdoing as it relates to Jeffrey Epstein or these files, even with these emails being released. That's one thing we need to make clear. So let's listen to CNN here.
The president has not been accused of any crimes or wrongdoing as it relates to Jeffrey Epstein or these files, even with these emails being released. That's one thing that we need to make clear. But
yet,
one thing about
has not been charged yet. Yes.
Yeah, there's no accusations though of any wrongdoing so far.
And you see that Congresswoman, he hasn't been charged yet. Charged for what? I mean, everything is so made up at this point, and it's certainly frustrating. You know, we want this issue to go away so we can focus on the real issues like the economy, the border, foreign affairs, all of this. But Democrats are so content on talking about this. If they talk about it enough, they're not arguing, that Donald Trump did anything wrong in the court of law. They're arguing that Donald Trump did something wrong in the court of public opinion. If they repeat a lie over and over and over again, there's zero evidence that Donald Trump participated in any of these disgusting acts on Epstein Island or anywhere else. But if they repeat it over again that he's implicated somehow, low information voters and dumb people will believe it. They'll say, oh, Donald Trump, oh, Jeffrey Epstein. Donald Trump, oh, Jeffrey Epstein, because they're linked together so often. It's the same thing, and we see it through it already. It's the same thing that happened with Russia. You know, you repeat a lie enough times that people just begin to think it's true. So props to the Republicans in Congress today. They're going to vote to release these documents. Will likely pass in the Senate because obviously it's Republican controlled, and Donald Trump has given them its blessing, and he says he's going to sign it, so it's all released. Obviously, there still will be some redactions because there needs to be protections for the victims, but I'm hoping this clears the air, not just puts it to rest and clears Donald Trump, but also implicates some Democrats that could potentially be implicated in these document dumps and politically harm Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer and all of these Democrats who have constantly been lying to the American people, just like they did on Russia. It's backfired. I predict this will be backfiring towards them as well.